All right, we are back at the 2016 Causeway Challenge here in Johor Bahru, Malaysia. My name is Jesse Matthews here with Chris May as we bring to you expert analysis on board one. We do have one more round of Nigel at board one, but due to recent developments of other players stepping up and beating Nigel, we will feature a non-Nigel match next round. Due to leg pairings determining who goes on each table, it will be Jesse Day and Mark Nyman on table one after this round. But in the meantime, we have, is this the 8th meeting now?
I think it might even be the 9th.
Or 9th, yeah. Between Mark Nyman and Nigel Richards. They have met the most of the top players, I think, so far in this tournament, with Mark coming up with a few very important wins recently. So yeah, Nick, as you commented in the chat just before we went on the air, it is very difficult to get Nigel off table one, but it has been done amazingly due to some wonderful play and results from some of the field just below him.
Okay, so hello everyone, and yes, this is all very exciting because Nigel, who's threatened to run away so many times over these first 3 days, is actually now finding himself a game off the pace. We have Jesse Day leading the field, as you can see on causewaychallenge.com if you click through the results there. 18 wins he's got out of 25 rounds, margin of 912, and joining him on 18 is Mark Nyman, about to face off against Nigel Richards. So the two of them have 18 wins. Nigel 17, and only a 200 or so spread advantage over the field. Following those three, on 16 wins, we have three players: David Eldar of Australia, still hyped up on caffeine. Komon of Thailand, also 16 wins, and Ayurinde Saidu making a charge of Nigeria, now up to 6th place with 16 wins. Had a good morning and is on a 3-game winning streak. Then on 15, three more players: Andrew Fisher of Australia, Harshan Lamabadasuria, who we've seen in action on table 1 before, he's got 15, and Tacha of Thailand, also ominous, on 15 wins. Those players are all within 3 games of the lead, so with a full 20 rounds to play, this is still an absolutely wide open tournament, which is exactly what we'd like. And the game is now underway. Nigel with a close but no cigar opening rack of ADEIMOT, and poor old Mark Nyman. Oh, CENQSYY. Well, that's a change rack.
Yeah, I'm not liking that one very much.
Nigel goes for the points with Diatom. Doesn't think there's anything strong enough to try and conserve a bingo leave, and I think I basically agree. DATE is nowhere near as good as DARE would be. And I really feel that Mark is going to have a quick look at this and then change to try and keep some bingo options with either ENS or CENS as a keep. Pretty close. I don't think there's much to choose between those two. I'd probably keep C.
Hello to everyone in chat, thanks for watching. Oliver, Jason, Nick, James, got all sorts of people watching. And an exchange has happened. Let's just see what we've got exchange-wise. QYY.
Yep, agree. I feel overly anxious to endorse Mark's plays when he makes ones that I agree with. So the early initiative that's been ceded to Nigel because of Mark's exchange is not really looking like it's going to cost him too badly. Nigel can't do any huge damage with this rack of AA, EE, FH and V. I mean, he has some words and he can put them on the board. They include Fovea, keeping the E back to hook. Don't think there's anything particularly worth admiring that goes perpendicular. Nigel doesn't care about the hook this time. No setup now. Probably not worth it really. He also likely infers an E in Mark's 4-tile keep. Very few 4-tile keeps, or reasonably few 4-tile keeps, wouldn't have an E.
And Incensor?
Yeah, I think you're right. On screen as well is another option.
On screen, that's right.
Obviously not as good. Connors is in the word list. Oh, hi Nigel, you've drawn a blank.
And he's almost got one letter off. If we're different, Jukish.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, so just in case people have just joined the feed, the next game will not be Nigel Richards. He's been thrown off table 1 by the results in the last round. So it's going to be Nyman versus Day, which is actually a matchup we've not seen on table 1.
Indeed.
We've just seen them playing Nigel continually.
I guess it's overdue they would play each other eventually, given that the two of them have single-handedly stopped Nigel from winning this tournament.
I mean, I'm sure they must. I'm sure they must have played each other in the
Let's find out
so far.
Let's see what their head-to-head is.
Yeah. So Jesse and Mark played in round 6. That was a win for Jesse. They played in round 14. That was a win for Mark. So in fact, they've only had the 2 meetings. And it's 1 each. So no mistake from Mark. Mark hugely strong on bingos. I don't think we've seen him falter on any bingo rack in any of the games we've seen. And knocks down Incensor, no trouble at all. So, curious kind of rack for Nigel, the sort of one where you expect to score and then bingo. But that requires the board to be in your favour. And sort of due at J10. I'm not sure that the board is totally in Nigel's favour. You know, he's a little bit unpredictable with the J. Most people like to get rid of it, but he might play something like WHA.
It's possible.
It's possible.
Yeah, another E for Jefe from the A and diatom would have been nice, but no, that's not there either. No, Mark's drawn QU among some other letters as his post bonus rack. Not bad at all. Certainly can play with that. The straight up King of the Hill model for King's Cup, James, I'm actually not sure. Chris would probably have a better answer for that. Chris, do you remember? Is it straight up King of the Hill for King's Cup as well?
Well, I haven't played since 2010, but my memory of King's Cup is it's usually paired in 2 rounds at a time and in batches of 4 players.
Okay.
So you have 4 players interplaying for 2 rounds, which is actually not a complete round robin among those 4 players.
Okay, that's kind of like...
It's a little bit weird.
It's a bit like Chew Snake pairings at the Nationals in the US, so it's similar. So this King of the Hill model is fairly unique to a tournament of this size as far as the Scrabble world is concerned. I can't think of any other one of this magnitude where it is pretty much straight up King of the Hill.
No, indeed. As it happens, there are 46 players in the Premier Division, so we could have done this tournament as a straight round robin among the whole Premier Division, which would have been kind of interesting, but I think I prefer what we've got going here, to be honest.
Of the two, I would prefer this one as well.
Yeah, even though it does mean watching a lot of the same players. I mean, they're very good players, so why not?
Jason says at King's Cup, everybody just gets paired with Packhorn over and over.
I think there's some memories of 2009 coming back there. Remind us, Jason, what happened?
Gamo is just a nice find from Marlon for Nigel's rep.
Yeah, we should probably talk about the game.
There's Wagoner for even more.
Yeah, that looks alright, doesn't it? We might need to be mindful of the extensions for diatom. They may possibly come in handy later in the game. Diatomite, diatomist. So, I don't see any racks for either player
Indeed.
right now, so I don't really have anything to say, other than that Mark Nyman is losing by 65 and would probably like to make up those 65 points. So guys in the crew, we'd like to get some up-to-date rack information. I see Mark's coming through now, so thank you. And that's a tricky little rack because, you know, it's not actually that near a bingo. It needs some careful work to make it into one. And, you know, where you're going to score more than 20 points here. Not ideal at all as the trailing player. You want to be able to keep some scoreboard pressure on the leader. In fact, this rack only makes 1-8. There's a little quiz for the viewers.
I think I spotted it, so I won't say.
But meanwhile, we should have a look and see what we think he should, in fact, do. And I guess if he's trying to get towards a bingo, the ENOR is the best of the keeps. Although he could think about playing 5 tiles and holding back EN. It's really not that easy. Gion is a sort of plausible play, although a little bit desperate in terms of what it opens up. I haven't seen much that takes my fancy through the eye of Haji. Edwards suggests Nirol, and I guess he means at 10J. Yeah, that is that looks about as good as anything. It's he's not going to find many what wasn't on the board, and the leave is just about as good as it could be. And while the board's not as is not perfect for bingos, it's also not terrible.
So he's gone for Rejon as a scoring play.
Yeah, can't argue with that. No S-hook, of course. And a tricky rack for Nigel as well. AUA would be the standard solution to it. Whether that goes anywhere satisfying, I'm less sure. Haven't seen it if there is. Meaning that Nigel may have to make a compromise with his rack leave here. Tell us what you think in the chat. This is a classic example of a move that you wish you didn't have to worry about, but you do have to worry about it because it's important.
Come up often enough, yeah. You know, I'm not terribly against off AUF to the F and Fauvier as a possible option. Ideally get rid of one more vowel, but I'm not entirely against that.
Benji throws in Vina. I'm guessing that he means the 14-row placement to completely paralyze that section of the board. Or
the I column, perhaps?
Or does he mean the I column? Yeah, I6. Not totally sure I like that. I think AARU is just a little bit anemic. But it is hard to find a good solution here.
So it looks like he's going airvac. So plowing through letters, exploring in the process.
Keeping AU and opening a double-double. So clearly, that there was no perfect play there. Nigel's had to settle for what he could get. Mark a little unlucky there to only have one vowel. Means he drew 4 consonants.
Nigel's got capsule on his rack for the next turn.
That's a nice draw. And that's got several anagrams, doesn't it?
It's got
upscale, scale up, and specular.
Yeah, those are all there.
I'm learning. None of those plays are on row 13, interestingly. Well, capsule does, of course, but doesn't reach the double-double. Sorry, what am I saying? Double word.
Positionally, it's actually not so bad.
True,
to play it down there.
Yeah.
I would actually, in fact, favor it over anything off of the D in diatom. I think, I would likely go for capsule down there.
Specular to the R of airvac.
There's that too, yeah.
Meanwhile, a bit of a headache here for Mark, really. He probably didn't see that coming, having to play with only one vowel on this turn. And it's a little bit of a nightmare. I wonder about something like Pell at J10, or he can take more points if he wants to by playing horizontally, or playing as it looks like he's doing down to the triple word in the corner.
Opting to keep TLL left over and scoring a fair bit in the process. Those double L's.
Yeah, an interesting choice. Double L's can be good. They sort of complement each other sometimes, but on this board, TLL doesn't look that enticing to me. Curious to know, tell us in the chat what you think of Ripen as opposed to Mark's other options. Don't think I saw much suggested for him there. So
Nigel's gone for capsule.
Agrees with you that it's positionally good. I think we'll probably all agree on that. So 100-point lead for Nigel, and Mark drawing to a TLL lead. He's going to want something good here. Diatomite is gone.
What was the other one again? Diatomist?
Diatomist.
I'm also learning words. Yay! I am not particularly good at anything beyond basic 9s, so it's nice to...
Oh, you're good at basic 9s? You're better than me then. I'm not good at 9s at all.
I said a few basic 9s, not that many. Besides things like arytenoid, I don't know very much.
A race to the bottom in terms of 9 knowledge. Excellent. Who is worse?
Probably me, but it's hard to say. Alright, Mark has got flatly with another T on his rack. Well, thanks, Jason, for your comments regarding favorite banter yet. For a second there, when you said erase the bottom and banter, I was thinking, wow, I guess we really suck at this.
Pretty harsh, yeah.
And you clarified your comment, so thanks, appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, I actually don't know what Mark's done there. I haven't yet seen the input play. I was struggling to find good options for him, that had a clear long-term strategy to catch up 100 points.
Mhm.
There were players like Flay available. So, have we seen what he did?
Well, Nigel played Capsule, Mark played Ripen. I don't see what Mark Nyman did, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Okay, so there was some lag on his turn.
Which I think means he kept LATT. A little bit better than previous leave, and actually I hadn't spotted that play. Scores very healthily, so I think it's quite reasonable.
MEU from Nigel, keeping Deld.
Yep. Nigel knocks out the double-double with that. Just making it that little bit harder for Mark. So, Mark has at the very least the chance to fork the board here with a play like Black.
Yeah, I was looking at Black right away.
And to me that strikes me as a fairly decent default option. Certainly leaves Nigel with some defensive work to do. Seems to have TIK. So maybe he's thinking about tick as a more favourable synergistic lead. As we've said a couple of times, B and L very nice to keep together, largely because of the able possibilities. But he needs to be aware that there's only 2 E's in the pool. And am I reading this correctly? 2 E's in the pool for Mark, I'm seeing, and Nigel's got both on his rack.
I believe. No, because I'm seeing the K in the unseen pool and it's Mark's turn, so whoever's running Quackle hasn't inputted the letters correctly.
But even so, the 2 E's should be the ones that Nigel holds.
True. Yeah, I'm sorry guys, I'm not sure what's happening with our Quackle operator, but yeah, I'm guessing that the 2 E's are the ones that are on Nigel's rack. Yeah,
so that's a really weirdly unbalanced pool. There's a bunch of I's and a ton of O's in there and hardly any E's, and that really favours the leading player. When the trailing player's got to make bingo as well, they're going to want E's. And the BL value nosedives in a pool that is short of E's. So, in the absence of suggestions from the chat, I think some kind of forking play involving that sea of capsule to develop the left-hand part of the board for bingos is the normal strategy from Mark to play.
I think something in favor of tick as opposed to Black is Black. I think you have a lot of words that unless they end in Y, you need to have an E at the end of the word, which is not going to happen. So tick is going to allow for AL words or something similar, which I think works in his favor. So I'd say that's nice foresight looking for that.
I agree. Having a look at the pool, I think tick is indicated.
And also the other nice thing with tick I was noticing compared to Black is I think it's a little more straightforward to block the lane on top that you create with Black by making a really small little play like, I don't know, something like BI and something else up on the right, whereas with tick, when you play something to the left, you're still opening more further up. So I think positionally and in terms of the pool, it's a better play.
Yep, I'm convinced. A little bit worried that Mark might be running off into time trouble again, taking quite a long time on this play. And if he does get a bingo and claw it back and take it to an end game, then he's going to want a bit of time on the clock. Nigel's sitting on a pretty decent looking DZO, which is going to damage the top of the board from Mark's point of view, as well as putting considerable scoreboard pressure on Mark, the trailing player.
A suggestion in the chat's been given for Aka. I'm not sure the Hail Mary is quite helpful in this particular case. Yeah, I think Tick is certainly a reasonable play here. A little more realistic with respect to favorable outcomes.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that play until someone shows me a play that's better.
Looks like it was put down and picked back up. Just waiting for it to be confirmed here. Mark has hit the clock on some kind of play, so we'll perhaps see it going back down shortly. Yeah. Are you talking about Aka on the top, Josh, at 3H? Because if you were talking about the one at F13, then it would just be a Hail Mary, but perhaps you mean the one on the top. Or perhaps at 9F.
I think he meant M12.
Or M12? Okay. Well, that's not bad. But BLITT, I'm not sure that would be helpful.
So Nigel, as I was going to say, isn't letting himself get worried by those forking, by that forking move from Mark, just taking the big points that he had available, and dealing with one region of the board at a time. So the points were there to play a move that blocked some of the lines that Mark would have been looking at, and he also knows that Mark probably had a bit of an awkward rack, right? There's no, Tick doesn't signal an S necessarily from Mark at that point in the game. Nigel's going to know full well that it was an attempt primarily to create two bingo lines rather than an immediate setup for a tile that was in the lead.
Yeah. And especially because Nigel now has a blank with a very nice rack.
Well,
that's this game done.
Yep. I mean, with that pickup, Nigel can bingo in both of the lines that Mark's just created, and there's very little more to discuss. He's going to go way, way ahead, and we'll walk out the winner. So should we just take a break, Jesse?
And just walk away already.
Get back on Tinder.
Yeah, time to get back into that swiping. Maybe I'll have a walk around the room and get an idea of some of the scores while trying to score myself.
Well, and leave me to commentate this snooze fest on my own. No, go ahead, fine, leave me. Yeah, whatever.
No, I'll
see if
stick
I
around
can
for a little bit. Perhaps we can do some swiping together. Help me judge.
Well. It's a very flattering offer. So, a little bit desperate from Mark. He opens the 9-timer wide open with Balti, and well, I think he's quite lucky that Nigel doesn't have a triple there. I think a tile up or a tile down, and Nigel would have hit. And we've got the old dollar signs in his eyes, but no luck. He has to settle with the constellation resold. But I mean, unless Mark has got a great draw with a triple in it, very little more to discuss. And it's just not quite good enough for Mark. BDG HOST. And there's not a lot left for Mark Nyman to play for here other than spread minimization. So yeah, and I don't know what you guys on the chat feel, but spread minimization to me is something that people talk about a lot more than they actually execute successfully. It feels like it's more of an art than a science to me. It's definitely not the same as playing for a win.
Ed, can we get the camera people to arrange successful swipes onto the feed? That would be pretty funny, and you can all judge with me. Hello to Eric Kinderman watching from Dubai. Glad you are enjoying. Thank you for joining us.
And just to conclude that point about spread minimization, of course, one of the things that you can do when you're sort of this far behind to minimize spread is try and get a bingo. But by trying to get a bingo, that means you've got to have bingo lines, and your opponent, who's 170 ahead, could also be trying to get a bingo. So it's a bit of a brinksmanship game in that sense, and sometimes you even have to play defensively when you're way behind as a spread minimizing strategy. And it's often quite hard to know what to do. You've got two vastly different tactics that you can employ to minimize spread. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they're diametrically opposed. And that's a really different kind of scenario to when there's a chasing player and a leading player, and you're concerned primarily about the win. And I'm not sure that the science and the maths of this has been explored, although if anyone's done that, it's probably Kenji, so he can tell us if he's got stuff about how to play for spread in a decided game available on his website or in his book.
Very likely. Can't imagine why not. Jason's stories from Johor Bahru last night. Well, dinner was kind of interesting, actually getting the orders to finally be done. Our server kept on saying fried rice in between everything he was trying to suggest to us, not really listening to what we were asking for.
Jason, I'm sorry to tell you that the 1 hour that I left and went out for dinner last night is the only hour that I've spent out of the hotel since arriving, because I've been so ill. I had pot noodles in my room for dinner 3 nights in a row, which I bought from the duty-free store. So it's been a sad tale for me socially at this tournament. But that's all going to change tonight, of course.
There you go.
Friday night in JB.
Mm-hmm. And yes, Joel, I remember Ice9 is the Yahoo email address that you used on CGP, so welcome, thank you for joining. And no, Jason, I did not go on the beach for a walk with a Tinder date. So no need for the quotation marks either, Ed, but perhaps with some stories in Johor. We'll see tonight. I'll have to do some more swiping after the game. We'll see what we can endure.
So Mark went for BAGH there.
Bagel.
And it's kind of a resigned looking play, isn't it? I mean, he keeps DOST, but where's he going to play them? So Nigel storming back. He will overtake Mark Nyman with this win and really, really hammer home his spread advantage as between those two players. Not sure what Jesse Day's doing, but he will have an opportunity to go outright lead if he wins this round, maintaining his perfect record for the day. He will be the only player on 19 wins should he win here in his game with whoever he's playing.
He's playing Eldar, I believe. Or is that the next round after this one?
No, you're right, he's playing Eldar.
Yeah,
maybe one of us can go check that.
Let's rock, paper, scissors on it. Best of 3.
I'm happy to let you do it. You said to want to go walkies before.
It's good drama, and we can have something else for them to talk about for like 15 seconds. Let's do it. Best of 3. Best of 3.
Okay.
Okay, that's one. I got one. Ooh, one each. Oh, you win.
Always go stone.
Nice.
3 stones in a row for a 2-1 win. Gonna go check the scores on table 2.
So I'm being left alone here in studio as I was up 1, but in best of 3, Chris came back, won rock, paper, scissors. He's gonna go check on the games. Kenji, unfortunately there are no cameras in the room that we are in. I don't know if you got a chance to see one of the first Facebook Live videos I did, but basically for the whole huge playing room there's of course the big stage, which you've probably seen in some photos people have taken, but way over on the other side of the room in the corner we are holed up with some partitions set up so that the players on stage cannot hear us talking, and yeah, we just wander out between games to chat with everybody. We'll see if we can get Eldar in here if he finishes soon enough, but he's playing Jesse Days, so I sincerely doubt that they will be done in time to get on air before we go off the air, but we will certainly try.
Yeah, that game is still in progress. It looks to be a one-sided game. It's not always easy to tell from the player score sheets what side each player is on, but I'm pretty sure that it's Eldar leading by about 130 over Jesse at the moment. Jesse's got a very good rack, but if that is indeed the score difference, he's going to find it tough to get back in there. So that being so, it's going to be a 3-way split for the lead again, and a chance for the field to catch up. The lead won't advance beyond 18 wins in this round, so it's really starting to bunch up, which is pretty exciting. I'm sure all you guys want this tournament to go into a fifth day before we have a winner, and that's so far what's happening, sort of against the odds, because Nigel has just threatened to run clear so often, and he's been brought back, which is great.
Did you happen to see what happened with Goman and Tacha? No, because they're the other one. Well, Goman is possibly back within 1 win as well, as he won his last game.
That would be cool.
And then Saidu Ayarinde, he was playing Andrew Fisher, who has stopped by the studio here a few times when he's finished early, but not this time, so I'm guessing he's in a tight game there as well. So with that, Nigel gets to bonus out with Situated, following the play of Odontist from Mark Nyman. Big win for Nigel. Puts him back into first place.
Yep. And I'm going to pass on to David Eldar that there's been a request for his presence in the booth. So if he finishes the next game quickly, he's going to head straight in here, I'm sure, and deliver his inimitable insights.
So Jesse is playing Mark Nyman on board 1 next round. We have confirmation of that. And based on the lagged pairings, it should be Eldar and Nigel on table 2. So it is possible that he finishes soon enough to get into here, because Nigel doesn't use a lot of time, and Eldar is not one that I know to run down his clock completely either, at least not all the time. So we're going to go off the air here briefly. It's 4 p.m. sharp. We'll be back at 1:15 for our next broadcast. Until then, Jesse and Chris signing off. We'll be back here very soon.